In this video, I'm going to be taking you through the data points that I track with my clients in order to get consistent results almost every single time. So I need you to bear with me because I am still a little bit sick, just recovering from a bit of a cold that I got. So if I cough and splatter and sneeze all over you, then I do want to apologize in advance. So this is how we track data, or this is the data that we track to get consistent client results. Now, the caveat to this is being a data-driven coach is definitely not the only way to get client results. But this is just what I do. And the reason why I like to track data is because, number one, I don't like guessing. Number two, I feel anxious and I feel blind if I'm not actually tracking data. It allows me to use logic as opposed to emotions when I am making adjustments and changes to my client protocols. And it also allows me to maximize consistency and, most importantly, predictability inside of results. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you which data points I track with my clients. I'm going to be showing you how I'd actually recommend tracking these data points and how I'd recommend collecting this data. And then lastly, I'll be showing you what I actually do with this data to make the right protocol adjustments for my clients. Now, the data points that I track, I've split it into three separate categories. We have measurements, intake, and expenditure. Now, under measurements, we have daily body weight, and this is going to be daily body weight for the client to track in the morning, fasted, preferably after they've been to the bathroom. This is classified as their true body weight. Weekly average, which is just the average of every single body weight of the week, and this is going to allow you to remove the fluctuation variables. The average difference, which is the body weight change on a week-to-week basis. And then we've got waist measurements as a separate measurement to track, simply because sometimes if the scale isn't moving, then this is another good point of reference to have a look at to see if any changes are being made. Then under intake, we have average calories coming in, average macros, average fiber, and average water intake. Then for expenditure, we have daily steps and then cardio calories burned, and this is an average over 7 days. Then we have cardio heart rate, average beats per minute when they are doing cardio specifically. Now, the way that I track this data, first and foremost, you need to know, obviously, there are going to be training apps out there that you are probably already using with your clients that will allow you to track this data for you. However, in my experience, and I've tried almost every single app out there, the only app that I've personally found that comes close to tracking like I would like it to, like the spreadsheet that I'm about to show you, is kahunas.io. I don't use Kahunas. My coach uses Kahunas, and so I've had experience using the app as a client, and it's pretty good. But I'm currently using Everfit, and the process of changing across to Kahunas is just no, I'm not going to do that. And also on top of that, unfortunately, Kahunas doesn't fit my personal business model. So if you're fresh in the game, or you're in a position where you're what app should I use? I definitely recommend Kahunas. If you're a data-driven coach, that is. Now, you can download here the free client tracking sheet. We'll just open it up. Now, just as a side note, I have had I've gone through so many different iterations of spreadsheets and tracking, and I just kind of wanted to give you a trip down memory lane. So this is one of the very oldest tracking sheets. We've actually got one older than this, and it looks even uglier. So we went from this, and then we upgraded and we went to this. That was pretty shit. Then we went to this one, and then after that we went to this one, and then we went to this one, and then now this is the most updated one, this one right here, which is, in my opinion, going to be the best and easiest to use, and it's the best looking in my opinion as well. Anyways, so I'm going to show you how to use this, right? So again, we're tracking body weight, daily steps, cardio calories burned, and cardio heart rate in this spreadsheet. So up the top here, if you did want to use this and you wanted to use this for yourself or your clients, then you can change the start date to whatever date that is. When you populate, so what's the date? 8th of June. You'll notice that it auto-populates and changes all of the dates here. in the body weight column, we've got, this is this is obviously where you're going to start entering in your body weight, daily steps, cardio calories burned. And I just want to quickly show you cardio calories burned. So let's just say you've got your client doing like 4 times 300 calories worth of cardio. If we were to put that on, let's say on Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, what you can see here, this metric here, this is the average over 7 days calories burnt. Okay? And so what this means is it's just the sum of the total amount of calories burnt divided by 7 days, so that it can give you a very, I guess, a more accurate understanding of how many calories are being burnt on a daily basis if you were to average it out over the entire week. And then cardio heart rate, BPM, that's just a metric that I like to track alongside cardio. So it might be like they burnt 300 calories at an average heart rate of 140 BPM. And this is just so you can get an idea of the intensity in which they maintain throughout their entire cardio. Then down below here, we've got the average weight. This is just the averages overall. So average body weight, as you can see, we've got it pre-filled because I'm going to talk to you about what it is that, like how I use these spreadsheets. So out of all of these fluctuations here, the average was 84.2. We've got daily steps here, an average of 10K each day. And then down here, we have the calories and macros. And so what you can do, right, when using the sheet, if you want to use this sheet, when you put in macros, so carbs, fat, and protein, it'll automatically calculate the total amount of calories that is. Now, going forward, right, this is week 1, and then going into week 2, let's just say all of this has been filled out. And then we've got a full week, a full second week worth of data. Right here, what you'll notice, it says average body weight difference. And it says minus 0.4. So this, in this scenario, like this hypothetical scenario, this person has dropped 400 grams on average. Now, the main thing that I'm going to be looking at as this is starting to be filled out by my clients is the average body weight difference. I don't really care so much what their body weight is on a day-to-day basis because, of course, fluctuations are going to happen. This is the magic number, because based on this number will determine what it is that you can do in terms of making adjustments to the protocols to see the rate of fat loss that you actually want to see on a week-to-week basis. I will say this though, I wouldn't make any adjustments unless I had tracked at least 3 to 4 weeks worth of collected data, especially in the very beginning. So typically, if I have a client that's just started and I've put them into a deficit from the get-go, I typically wouldn't make a further adjustment until at least week 3 or week 4. And the reason why is because typically when we see clients just starting out, usually they'll drop off a lot of fluid at the beginning just through nutritional consistency alone. So you kind of want to wait for that period to kind of tick over of fluid drop-off. And then after that, you can start collecting data from there and start making the necessary adjustments and changes. So that's how you use this spreadsheet. Normally, what I would do with this spreadsheet is, like, for example, the most common app that coaches use is Trainerize. And I know that Trainerize doesn't really track average body weight or anything like that. It doesn't go into nearly enough detail that a data-driven coach would actually need. So what I used to do when I used to use Trainerize is I used to use Trainerize to track their nutritional intake and then obviously deliver programs and stuff like that. And then I would, as an add-on, I would share this spreadsheet with them and get them to fill that out for me. So when I do have that, when I do go into their check-in, I can jump in and I can have a look at the data and see what the data is telling me. So hopefully that is all making sense so far. Okay, so far we've gone over which data points I track and how I track and collect this data. The next one is what I do with this data to make protocol adjustments for clients. So going back, we can see that we've collected, let's just say this is week 4. We've collected 4 weeks worth of data. We know that the average body weight difference is currently sitting at around a 400 gram difference or a 400 gram change. The main thing that you need to know with this is 100 grams average difference equals roughly 100 calories. Okay? So in this spreadsheet example, if this client dropped an average of 400 grams, then it's probably safe to assume that they are sitting in roughly a 400 calorie daily deficit. And this is inclusive of all expenditure as well. Therefore, if you wanted to reduce or increase the rate of change, you'd simply need to add or deduct the equivalent difference in calories. And I'm going to provide two examples here. Example number one, if your client whose maintenance was 2,500 calories and they wanted to lose 1 kilo per week, then they would need to be in 1,000 calorie daily deficit from maintenance. Therefore, if you dropped their calories from 2,500 down to 1,500, you could probably expect them to drop about 1 kilo per week. And this is not taking expenditure into consideration. So when making expenditure adjustments as well, obviously you wouldn't need to drop an entire 1,000 calories from that because you would set them a step target. 10K steps is roughly 300 to 400 calories burnt on a daily basis, depending on the individual. And then you could also add in cardio on top of that. For example, let's just say you wanted them to, we'll put it in here. So cardio calories burned. Let's just say you got them to do 350 calories over 4 days. This would equal an average of 200 calories burnt each day. I hope you're able to keep up with me. So this would mean that instead of, let's just say you wanted them to lose a kilo per week, their maintenance was 2,500. Instead of dropping 1,000 calories, you could drop 800 calories plus this cardio, because that would equal a total of 1,000 calorie daily deficit, not including steps. I really hope this makes sense. So that's example number one. Example number two. If your client was on 1,800 calories and they were dropping an average of 800 grams per week, then it's probably safe to assume that their true maintenance is 2,600. Okay? If they're currently on 1,800, only dropping 800 grams per week on average, then it's probably safe to assume 2,600 calories is their true caloric maintenance. Therefore, if you wanted to increase their drop rate up to 1 kilo per week, then you'd need to deduct a further 200 calories from their intake. And again, this is not including taking expenditure into consideration. So, hopefully that makes sense, right? It makes a lot of sense inside of my head, but then as I've started to record this video and kind of speak it out loud, I'm starting to get the sense that maybe this is not making 100% sense. So what I want you to do is, if you do have any questions about this, please either drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally and just ask me a question, because I would be more than happy to help you out and maybe further explain myself if I need to, okay? But that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully that was valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.